Conseguiu? Hello, Philip. Can you hear everyone here? Is everyone's okay?
I hear you. I hear you.
I can hear you, Philip. Can you hear me?
Yes. All right.
Excellent.
So I'm gonna close my camera here because I'm just organized, just happy the guys here and leave you guys to talk. I'm gonna close my microphone and video, okay? Okay.
Yeah, Guilherme, if you can stay and listen to the conversation, you might have a question or two for Philip.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay here, but I'm just gonna close my camera and my microphone and leave you and Philip to talk. It's
awesome.
Better. Okay.
Thank you.
Everything is recording here, okay, Philip? That's okay for you because we are recording here. Everything is on the YouTube right now in live time. That's
okay.
It. Thank you, guys. Have a good one. I appreciate it. I'm gonna stay here for.
Thank you for all your hard work, Guilherme. Good evening, Philip.
Hi, David. How are you?
Doing very well, actually. Better than I could have ever expected. Things have really come together this weekend for us. Yesterday was a very busy day. We did a lot of recording. I think almost 8 or 10 hours worth of recording. Mostly Zoom. A lot of people are still really nervous about the COVID. And I don't know about in the United States where you are, Philip, but there's been another push. The sad part about it is that people that have been vaccinated, even with the 3 different doses, are coming down with this coronavirus. So it doesn't seem like the vaccine's really doing much at all. How are things where you are?
It seems pretty quiet. The news certainly emphasizes that there are new variants out there. Like most people, I've had the 3 shots, the original and a couple boosters. One of the things it's supposed to do is blunt your likelihood of being hospitalized if you have been vaccinated versus native. I say I am pretty conscientious and haven't had any problem. I know a lot of students have certainly had it. There are a couple of people I know who did die from COVID. One of the surprising ones was Amy Butler, who was the head of the sustainability department for MSU. She was working with us, and the day we did the video for the EPA Rainworks, she'd been planning to be the person there, but her assistant Laura Young did it instead, and Amy died over Christmas break.
Wow. So I'm sorry to hear about any loss over this. Yeah. Obviously, it's really, the sad part is the people that I've been talking with, the ones that have taken the vaccine here in Brazil. I don't know, it might be a different type of formula that they used or something, a different type of vaccine, but they're getting it pretty bad. And some people are actually having like heart attacks and young people, like in their 30s.
Right.
And people that are like athletic, like surfers and that have no pre-existing conditions ever in their life. Now they're coming down. It's just scary. I don't want to dwell on something like that. That's so like doom and gloom, rather really be uplifting. By the way, happy 4th of July.
Okay. Thank you.
It's here in Brazil, obviously their Independence Day is a different day of the year, but
of course,
for me as an American, I'm so happy this weekend because it's really about independence, and that's what I think the BioDome is all about. Ultimately, it's about people being whole and independent, and trusting and trying to do the best that we can with the science and the technology that we have available. And so just for the people listening to this live stream, Philip is the coordinator for the MSU, which is the acronym for Michigan State University student greenhouse project, which is called BioDome. And my name is David. I'm here in Brazil on the coast of São Paulo, Brazil. And I made contact with Philip, about 3 months or so, maybe a little bit longer ago. Is that correct, Philip? Is that about the first time?
Now, I will make another correction though.
Okay.
We are our own independent 501c3 nonprofit. And though our students are predominantly located at the MSU campus, MSU is not part of our name.
Okay.
They do not want, they're a different tax entity. They're a different business, you might call.
Okay.
We are the Student Greenhouse Project, not the MSU Student Greenhouse Project.
Okay. Thank you for being very clear with that. And I understand that now. I guess what I mean to say is that the BioDome project is a project that you are helping to coordinate that actually is going to be constructed, a physical dome constructed on land that is part of the university in Lansing, Michigan, outside of Detroit. Is that fair enough? Is that fair enough?
Actually, we had a long-standing promise for that. As the university has gone through a transition in administration and some difficulties with its financial circumstances and other things, we do not have a standing promise for location on campus at the present moment, to which we consider this an opportunity to be used because this is a circumstance where we can build the esteem for our organization, build our outreach, and also have our own sort of opportunities to do more fundraising and alliance building. Being in a situation where we were under the MSU umbrella and targeted for campus, we had a sort of a politically correct requirement to have the board of trustees approve a bunch of stuff. And the university is very large and things move very slowly. And they have a lot of irons in the fire. So basically, like I say, there is a sort of advantage for the present circumstance to not have the university be a gatekeeper for our fundraising and our public engagement, which takes so long to get a meeting and run through process.
Well, I can only imagine, and let me ask you a question then, Philip. Are there alternative sites that are outside of off the campus? Do you have other locations? Is this a project that you're trying to do in general?
So we have for a long time proposed that the real value of the biodome would be multiple locations. Initially, we want to make sure that the good that we saw. So the reason that MSU is significant in this is they had a 20,000 square foot greenhouse that was sort of a public thing. 2,500 hours of community service people put all kinds of time in there and grew things and fixed things up and put in a pond and a waterfall and a whole thing. Okay, so it really appealed to people. It really made a difference in the community. It is the proof that this is the sort of thing that people love and rally around. And when it was threatened and was eventually taken down because the building itself was, almost a century old, there was a gigantic response. And so that set the ball rolling. So we have at least 3 other communities within the locale around us in the state who have reached out, or people have suggested we reach out to them. And we have a affiliate in Canada and one in Wisconsin. So there are all sorts of people who have looked over the design, look over the ethic and the vision. And the vision is for people to spend more time in nature, for people's barriers to be brought down, for stress to be limited, and then for there to be community building and an increase in friendship networks. And then the reason to have, an initial one or two is to see if it goes further, if it actually causes community engagement, is an initiation for action and environmental consciousness and awareness. Okay, at that level, then it's very easy to go to other prominent people, other community organizations, other locales, and say, look, we have always surmised this is an advantage. We saw this in the original circumstance at MSU, and now we are, hard copy data on the table showing what this can do. Let's have this, find the groundswell in your community and add this to the offerings that make your community a wonderful place and a home. And so that would be when it would expand to hundreds. But initially, we want one or two, not to get too hard, to make it so that we make a good comparison, a good understanding, a good ability to do the grants and the data work. And then we have a situation where we have shown that even just a little bit of nature that is close to home, close to your doorstep, 5 or 10 minutes, or less at best, away from your home, so that, a few thousand people can make this a regular part of their daily lives, and then see how much the sharing and the knowledge and the interpersonal relationships and the nature itself are transformative.
That's perfect. I didn't realize that it was as dynamic and as far as advanced as you just mentioned, Philip. I thought you were pretty much limited to that one parking area, the parking lot. That it made sense. The project makes total sense, and it is a great reuse of land that's basically somewhat contaminated with the runoff from the parking and from the road system there, because I did a little bit of research on campus. You are right. It's a huge community there. I was really amazed, especially with the agricultural program there with the cattle and with there's a gas, like an energy system that uses the natural gas.
Right. They're doing a bioconverter and making usable natural gas out of the organic waste and the cattle manure and different things. Yeah. I mean, so with the situation as it is presently with MSU, we are taking advantage of an opportunity, but there is no circumstance that we are losing sight of the campus, because it is a 50,000 person internationally connected, ongoing intellectual and even green oriented, episode in human history here. I mean, they've been working on this for 100 years and they're still going. So if there's some way we fit in the future, where we have more esteem and more financial backing, which I'm sorry to say is one of the main bottom lines the university looks at, then it would be a wonderful place. Because if it were to blossom, I mean, like a dandelion, it would be one of those places in the world where you could just and blow it, around the globe. So there is lots of good and lots of opportunity. We're just following the path as it lays itself before us and moving forward.
Yes. And I don't know exactly, but I think it's been around 30 years, or at least 25 years.
24.
24 years is, it's kind of strange in some way, because there's a lot of commonality between, for example, you mentioned that there's 50 or 60,000 students on MSU campus. The community is about 50 or 60,000. Here in Brazil, where I am, in the biodome project that we are trying to do, which is not a physical biodome, because everything that you're trying to capture and kind of recreate internally in a climatized environment is already natural here. But when I say that, there's an urgency and a certain amount of pressure, like on me and on other people here environmentally, because our community along the mainland, I'm on an island, and there's 7 islands and 15 beaches that make up this immediate area. It's called Costa Sul, San Sebastian. And for people that want to look at, like on Google Earth, you can go right to Sao Paulo, the city, on Google Earth, and then scroll down to where the ocean is to the south, and then go to the east, and you can see we are only about 2 hours out, just outside of the big city of Sao Paulo. I don't have the longitude and latitude, the GPS specifically, but the area is called Costa Sul, San Sebastian. And what's interesting, Philip, is we have a lot of common things, but we also have things that are total opposite. Because in our community here, we have about 50 or 60,000 full-time residents. So it's about the same size as the campus there and the student body there. But our community, we have no university education. There's no advanced education here. And it's all a natural, it's all natural. There's hardly any, like, the largest structure is 9 meters. They have a limit in height. There's only like 2-story buildings.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have a lot of cement. Mostly the construction here is bio construction using wood. It's mostly wood construction. And so the common interest or the common measurement is that population. It really is an interesting opportunity for us to continue to have this dialogue. I know that the students right now, it's summertime there, things are a little bit slower. I know we spoke, you have a couple of important meetings coming up. People are starting to get reactivated with this process. So there's an opportunity now for us to try to help you and help the Student Greenhouse Project as a collaborator and like an advisory role, just to be here. And we talked also about the possibility of students doing gap years. And you had said that is kind of a common thing that people do, is take, a little bit of a breather, get out in the real world, get a real experience, and then go back into the classroom to really specialize in the areas that they want to pursue for their career. This whole process is about the students. And for us, our students is our population. It would be wonderful if we could find a way to make the bridge and the connection between the physical biodome work that you want to try to create and invent, and the non-physical, the natural pristine environment, and to set up an education outreach, like an exchange program, a gap year program, and have students that from the university there exchange with the younger population here.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Do you think that that's something that we could be like an international collaborator?
I certainly see a possibility for you to be an international collaborator. The official exchange student role would be more through the university. And again, we're honestly a separate entity. Now, I'm not saying that students couldn't just take some time off and have a landing place to go and engage with you on your island and in the nearby community. The more elaborate circumstance would take more to construct. And the university, as I said, is an extremely slow collaborator.
Yes. Let me ask you, you mentioned that the students that are part of the Student Greenhouse Project are not only students from the campus there, but let me ask, what other universities or what other schools where students are participating and trying to help you to advance this cause?
It's varied through time. I mean, we've got some folks who were at Grand Valley State, which is on the west side of the state. And like I say, again, we have at least one collaborator out of state in Wisconsin, but they're not a student. And so it really has had a very strong student focus. You know, I mean, on the same end, over the duration of time, people have gone everywhere. I mean, we have affiliates who are in Singapore and in China and other places where, you know, I guess I shouldn't call them affiliates. At that level, they're more post members, people we keep in touch with. They're not actively making a Zoom meeting or anything else. I mean, I send them, you know, like a copy of the EPA Rainworks document because, you know, we were sharing family type things. You know, here's the picture of the kids for Christmas. And it's like, well, here's what our kids did for Christmas. So, you know, that's kind of what's going on. So, you know, some of the slowness of the process has just allowed more seeds.
Yes. Have you, Philip, have you ever heard of sister cities? The sister cities?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Does Detroit or Lansing have sister cities?
Lansing and East Lansing both have participated in the Sister City program. I have a friend who himself is a videographer and actually went to Ghana to do a videotaping for East Lansing. A lot of my friends actually have worked as video crew for East Lansing. And so anyway, he got an actual, I don't know whether it was a grant or a gig or what sort of a job, but he was hired to go to Ghana with a envoy from East Lansing to visit the sister city in that country. Well,
great. You know, I think, you know, another word or another name for sister city is friendship cities.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, one of the metrics to create a friendship city normally is to have a population of an equal size or thereabouts.
Okay.
And that, so maybe there's we have a sister city in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And our city of San Sebastian for almost 30 years have had this relationship, a formal relationship with all the bureaucracy and all of the stuff that you have mentioned that makes it really difficult, and also the politics. I'm not really for sister cities in the sense of having the mayor and the mayor be the ones that are controlling the conversation. I'm more for like friendship cities, like what we're talking about right now. We're collaborating. I'm not being paid. You're not being paid. We're not running for office. We're not for one party or another. Our interest is about education and about really motivating the students specifically, but population in general. Like you said, the BioDome project for you is to be located in close proximity to population of populated areas. So it's not just the students that benefit, it's the whole community.
Yep.
And so maybe what we can look at is some of the concepts, like you had said, MSU is really bureaucratic, and I agree. If we don't need to go through those formal channels, if we can have informal and more organic and more spiritually connected friendship, then we can, it can open the door for a huge opportunity. That's the way that I see it. One interesting statistic that I just came across, I was on Google doing a little search, and I had asked Google how many Americans live in Brazil, and the answer came back about 70,000. So about the size of your community, the university population community. It's about all of Brazil, and Brazil is a very big country. Indeed. And then after I asked, I was surprised. I thought it would be a lot more. I don't know why I thought it would be a lot more, but 70,000 is nothing. It's nothing to have an American or U.S. presence here. It's not hardly anything at all. So I asked Google, how many Brazilians live in the United States? Do you know how many Brazilians they estimate that live in the United States?
1 million?
It's almost 3 million.
Ah.
And the difference between 70,000 Americans that are here in Brazil and over 3 million, a lot of the people from Brazil, they go to the United States and they never come home. They just stay there. So they're not calculated. They don't know the exact number of Brazilians that are in the United States. I mean, but it's in the last, I've been here now for 25 years was the first time that I came to Brazil. And over 25 years, anybody that had the wherewithal to get out of here in the last 10 years and had some money fled. And most of them went to the United States, but also Australia, the UK, anywhere where they could find employment. You know, it was basically, they call it economic refugees, because it's amazing, Philip, a Brazilian here makes less than like $8,000 a year. And that's a good job. That's like a college professor. That's like a scientist. That's like a dentist. That's like a doctor. And but they go to the United States and they can make upward $150,000 a year. And especially in the IT fields. So what's happening in just this last 10 years, most of the people that speak English have left Brazil and have gone to the United States and just don't come back. They just stay there, and eventually they might have a child, or they find an attorney, like an immigration attorney or somebody to help them. They just stay there. They don't come back, and they don't have any desire really to come back. But the Brazil has so much to offer. What, you know, a person that's retiring, I'm not talking about student population, but because students are looking for the career and a job opportunity. Brazil may not have that to offer, because when you come here, like, for example, myself, for 25 years, I've been working on this project. I haven't gotten paid anything. Zero. But I also didn't come here with that as an expectation. I don't do the work that I do with BioDome specifically for any gain, any personal gain. It's, for me, if BioDome happens here in Brazil, or even with you, it's such a huge home run for me. I'm going to be the person in the stadium, in the stands, standing up, cheering, just saying, yes, congratulations, we did it. Because, you know, it's such an awesome cause to try to help people to live fuller, richer lives. And I know your personal background a little bit. We've had several conversations now. You know, you're religious, and I guess you were studying to be a priest at some point. Is that correct?
I do have a religious studies degree. Yes.
And
could I actually ask you to introduce your friend there in the background?
This is Moser. Say hi, Moser, to Philip.
Hi.
Hello, Moser.
Hello. I don't know speak English.
Poco.
Poco. Okay. Well, hello, and nice to see you there.
Moser is a very interesting person when it comes to spirituality and things like ayahuasca and Reiki. He's a Reiki healer, so he does energy healing, and he helps me. I'm here with my wife alone on this island, Philip, taking care of this place for the last 12 years, to protect this place and to really try to do something that makes a difference. And Moser is one of the people that he's lived here with me. He doesn't speak hardly any English, but being here, he lived here about 5 years ago for 3 months. And when he first came here, he didn't speak any English, but now he came back. He's been with us now for almost a week, and he's planning on staying almost 3 months. And his background is in bamboo. His specialty is in seeds and in germinating seeds and food. And that's one of our interests here with the BioDome project that we have, is to be auto-sustainable.
Mhm.
We have a fresh water supply, an abundant mineral spring water supply. We have some issues with the soil, so we can't really do organic growing in the soil. We need to do elevated growing in vertical gardens, in hydroponics and aquaponics, and that's what we're hoping to bring to the next level of our development. The food, really, this year in the BioDome project is focused on food, because people here, it's amazing, Philip, the nutrition, everything that Brazil produces is exported to make money. So the food that's left over here is awful. It's horrible, and it's totally unhealthy. And obesity and things like obesity is something that's new. Brazil typically is very lean and fit, and the greatest country for plastic surgery, for example. And you know, the food supply is really what we want to focus on. And I know that that's part of also the BioDome project that you're doing. It focuses on being sustainable, and people need to eat. I know even your project, if I'm correct, there's an event center that's part of the one of the components to raise revenue was to do weddings. I think it was one wedding a month or something, 1 or 2 weddings a month you want to try to do.
Yep.
So the hospitality all comes down to food and beverage. You can put on an event or whatever you want to do, even ayahuasca, even a spiritual event. People still need to eat, and they still need to drink water and cocoa water and juice, maracujá, and all sorts of nutrition. And it would be such a wonderful thing if we can work together, try to engage with the students, try to really collaborate in a friendship environment, and create a network and exchange, so that people from the United States can come here and help populate Brazil. Right now, there's a real sad moment that's going on. I don't know if you're hearing much of the news in the United States about Brazil right now. Are you hearing anything about Brazil?
I would say that I'm a little behind on Brazil, in the sense that, I mean, the contest between Bolsonaro and Bolsonaro's relative mishandling of the COVID thing, and then the new challenge by Lula, since he actually became legal again because his conviction was vacated and so forth. But I can't say that the overall things that are going on in Brazil are a high profile item. And I'm probably exceptional as far as what most Americans even have Brazil on the radar at all. So
absolutely. Yeah. You know, it's scary because this is an election year. In I think it's in November. As a foreigner, what's really strange, Philip, about Brazil is I'm not allowed to be a politician. Any politician. But in the United States, you can do everything except for be the president of the United States.
You can if you become a naturalized citizen. You still have to have citizenship.
Yeah, well, I have a citizenship because I'm married. But even though I'm nationalized, I don't hold a passport. I don't have dual citizenship. But they don't allow. I think you have to wait 30 years. I think that's the time limit. If I'm here for 30 years, I can apply to be a full citizen, which would then give me the rights to be able to run for office. So I don't get to vote, is what I'm saying. My voice is zero. In fact, it might be actually a negative, because I'm not speaking Portuguese. I'm an American. I was trained to do this work. That's my whole career, was economic development and community development and nonprofit work, like a missionary. I'm not a religious. I'm not a priest. I am confirmed Catholic, and I believe in God, and I believe in Jesus, and I believe in Muhammad and Buddha and everybody. I believe in all spirituality. But it's really strange because, you know, the democracy right now is under threat. And the whole world in the United States is really doing little to nothing about it. Only 70,000 Americans, Philip, live here. It's for me, if we could engage the community there and even get 2,000 people in Michigan, one state out of 51 states, 2,000, we would be at 72,000, which is still peanuts. But to get 2,000 people to come here and to do like a timeshare, you don't have to stay here and live here. You can live here for 3 months out of the year with no documents at all. And you can afford to live here for about $200 or $300 a month. That includes a basic house and food, and some basic food. It's not the best food in the world, but basically people in the United States that are struggling and maybe have lost their job because of COVID-19, trying to reinvent themselves, maybe a little bit frustrated with what's going on with the political situation and immigration and healthcare, and everything in the United States is upside down from what we're hearing. I don't know if it's all true or not, and I don't really look into that. I don't read the news like that very, very much. But it seems like it could be a viable place for people, is what I'm saying, and students, like to take a gap year, to take 1 year off and come here for 3 months, or you can stay for 6 months without getting a special visa. But students can apply for a year round, and we can coordinate and have official accredited programs so that people, when they come here, they can do a gap year, but they can also get credit for some certification on sustainability. We can make whatever. Like you said, you are a nonprofit, and we also have nonprofit status for almost 5 years now. Mm-hmm. And so if we can combine and open up the doors for people to migrate here, to immigrate here from the United States, it would be wonderful for me, because more people would be speaking English. Moser is very interested in speaking English, in the culture. And he he's never been out of Brazil. He doesn't travel. He does mostly reading and self-study for his learning and his growth. But how does that even sound like it's something that might even vibrate well with people that you're in your circle?
I certainly know a student or two who really likes to travel. I mean, it's hard for me to say it because it isn't something that's been on the table, so it isn't what we talk about or discuss. I mean, obviously we're working on a particular project. The students have a variety of majors, and some of them are more friends I spend time with, and I know more of what their activities and interests are. Some of them we're, a club, a student organization. They, come down and do stuff. So it would just be something that would have to be developed.
Well, we can plant the seed. Hopefully that's what we're trying to do. This weekend I mentioned to you, we're making a movie. Mm-hmm. And Guilherme right now is recording this with Felipe. Felipe is Guilherme, and Felipe is the film crew. And they're not getting compensated for this work. They're doing it because they want to help. And Guilherme and Felipe both speak a little bit of English, which makes it a little bit easier for me, because they do some translation. Like I said yesterday, we did, I think, 8 or 10 hours worth of recordings. And most of it is in Portuguese. Unfortunately, we're going to have all of these links that I can share with you on a YouTube channel that you can review at a later time. And also people listening can have a small library for this weekend, this Independence Weekend, is what I'm calling it. Mm-hmm. So it's planting seeds. That's what I'm hoping from all of this. And this is just yet another conversation that we have had. I know that you've asked that I try to be really specific in making some type of request, but for me it's really difficult because it's hard for me to describe what friendship is, you know, and what the spiritual connection is. That for me is what my request is, that we can be friends and we can share openly and transparently and with honesty and with trust and with no restrictions. And if we can start there, then we can, the next step will, in my opinion, fall into place. Does that make sense?
Well, the request for specificity was simply about, you know, what were the arrangements for this particular event as a activity that you were trying to encourage, you know, an entire variety of people to be engaged in. For you and I just to have a casual conversation, as you said in your recent text or instant messenger, you know, I mean, my response was yes. I mean, if it was as physically doable as what we're doing now, then it didn't require any particular great amount of complexity or approval or herding people together or anything. So, I mean, I think that you have, you know, a good heart and wonderful objectives. And beyond that, you know, I don't know exactly how everybody in the world would react or our membership, but, you know, I'm certainly willing to consider you one of the people we're engaged with and see what sort of interest anybody else happens to, you know, engender as we go forward.
Thank you for that extension of peace and friendship, Philip. It really means a lot. Really means a lot. It means everything. In fact, let me ask you, you know, just kind of a technical question. When I was reviewing your YouTube, some of the videos and some of the 360, the interior views, it seems like a lot of the plants that I could be wrong, but they're subtropical plants. It seemed like a lot of the species that were at least illustrated are from South America, are from like Brazil and from the Amazon. Is that true, or am I?
Well, the target is a tropical environment. Now, exactly what the graphics programs provided the students who did the work, with the Landscape Pro, it came with a library. With the Blender, there were some basic components available, and then the students literally had to pick and choose and buy plants. You had to buy 3D renderings to fit into the program so that you could populate the view. So it was targeted at tropical. If it is the case that the predominant amount of plants that have been rendered into the libraries and the programs that the visualizations were done from, then those are the plants that the students had on their palette. And I wouldn't be surprised that you know, whoever is putting together these program packages, you know, is doing so in the United States and is doing so from what's available to them. And it's very much the case that for tropical plants, we're going to have a lot more plants from the continents of North and South America, or Middle America and South America. And Brazil is a great place and a giant place to have those people use as renderings. I would be much more surprised if those people were on top of plants in tropical Africa. I mean, it's just, they're not being shipped here. They don't live to get here. They're not therefore in people's minds and radar. And so you're fortunate living in Brazil and familiarity with the tropical plants related to the Amazon and Brazil made you see something I didn't even see. I only know that these were what was available within the program's libraries, and that we did have other students who critiqued the original choices and said, I worked at this conservatory, I worked at this zoo down south. Let me go through and do some switching and changing out here to make these more sensible, commensurate sort of arrangements and displays. So it wasn't just complete unknowing randomness. People have worked on this at several levels, but it certainly stands on a foundation of what somebody else made as the original imagery available.
Yes. And one statistic that I heard, I don't know how true this is, but I read at some point that two-thirds of all plants and animals on Earth live in Brazil. I don't know how valid that is, but Brazil is so rich. And this project that we're working on here along the coast of São Paulo, when I went through the walkthrough, the 3D rendering, I felt like I was actually next to the waterfall locally. We have 260 waterfalls that are just along this coast. We have a mountain range that cascades, and it rains. Another statistic that's kind of really interesting about this area specifically is the rainfall. I read that this is the most rainfall for density in the world. Right along the coast here, we have lots of rain. And torrential rain. And a big problem with the rain is the mudslides and rock avalanches we only have one road that goes along the coast. So if you have a rock avalanche, it not only kills people, but also just destroys the road. The roads are crumbling. And it's amazing that they even have a road. The road here along the mainland is only 50 years old. 50 years, Philip. This place is such virgin land. And thank God that there is some environmental controls here, because they put up moratorium on construction here about 20 years ago. After the road was built, you can imagine everybody and their brother came down here and started speculating on land and drove out all of the native people, the Indians, and basically caused a genocide. But now they have it somewhat under control, but there's still illegal construction and all sorts of environmental negative impacts happening because people pay. If you pay for a service, you get a service. But like me, I don't pay for a service, so the government doesn't consider me at all whatsoever, and it basically ignores the BioDome project. And that's why the movie is such an important outreach and an expression, because it's my way of really putting together within an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes, like a case history, a study of the past, the present, and the future potential. So in one snapshot within an hour and 40 minutes, you can get a lot of information, just like what we had this conversation tonight. We've just talked 40 minutes or so. And hopefully we're going to get one or two clips that we can include in the trailer. Guilherme and Felipe are going to be making hopefully like a 9-minute or 12-minute like trailer about the BioDome project. And we are going to make mention about the physical domes. Your effort is not the physical dome effort's been going on for like 24, 30 years. We have these physical biodomes around in Arizona and in Seattle, Washington, and Montreal. In your case would be in Michigan, and also in the UK. The largest greenhouse project in the world is the Eden. I don't know. Do you know the Eden project?
Yeah, we included that in our first appendix in our first proposal, because it demonstrated that a geodesic dome was a superlative greenhouse because it grew in volume and height as it grew in size, and it didn't need any internal supports, and it got a lot more light because the panels were much larger. And it just was a great example of how, if somebody was spending a lot of money and doing it up in a grand style, it validated that our smaller drop in the bucket was the right type of design.
Yes. So you know what we think we can offer, and I say we because it's not just me. I'm the leader, and everyone looks at me and points the finger and says, David, this is your mission. You need to be very clear and very exact. And I say to people, Philip, it's not my mission. It's not my, it's all of our mission. This is about the earth. This is about saving our environment. If we can't save a place like Costa Sul, San Sebastian, I say right now to everybody, Philip, and including yourself, good luck. Good luck, because the spiral is a downward spiral. If we cannot save an environment that's already pristine and already naturally has everything, we are in trouble. We're going to need to build physical domes because we are going to totally destroy all the natural resources that we have available. We're going to have to synthesize and manufacture a new reality of life. And so what I'm trying, my plea in the movie BioDome that we're making is let's take action now. Let's work together and let's come together. We don't need a huge budget. I'm the only one that's funding this for 25 years. We don't, the budget comes later. And after the BioDome is activated and we stabilize and sustain ourselves, the money it grows on trees, literally, the money grows on trees, just like our cocoa. We have 200 cocoa trees producing 10,000 cocos a year, but we don't consume 20 cocos a year. The trees are too high. It requires too much work. And Moser and I and my wife, we're only 3 people. We have 200 trees. We have all sorts of natural resources that are just decaying and totally wasted. And that's what this is all about. The BioDome project is about unutilized and non-utilized and underutilized, non-utilized and underutilized natural resources. It's not about creating anything new. It's just about let's manage through natural resource management. One of the things in the States, especially in Florida, that they do really well, and I applaud a lot of what I learned from is examples in the United States. We take care of the natural environment better than most countries. And it's because we have a long-standing history about national parks and natural resource management. And we have a lot of universities in science that stands behind these projects. We need to try to help in a friendship way to bring some of that spirit of natural resource management to Brazil. And I'm hoping that we can continue to have this conversation and go to the next, whatever the next phase in our development is. I know that school is going to be starting in shortly, and everyone's getting, you said things are starting to, the wheels are starting to turn again. So my hope is that when the wheels start turning, that we're going to be in the pipeline there to help you. And we can offer so that you can mention that while you've been on break, you've been communicating and collaborating and really been in trying to really advance this as much as you and I can do alone. If we can combine everyone else, we have a whole network here, around 2,000 people on the mainland are engaged. And that's what the movie BioDome is all about, is about engaging those 2,000. And if we can bring another 2,000 from the United States, we have 4,000 people. That's an army. That's an army of really high-powered people. Like the students that are at MSU are really trained. And I studied at Cal Polytechnic University in California, in Pomona, outside of Los Angeles. I have an undergraduate degree in hospitality management, but agriculture and gardening and things like that. I've taken elective classes. I never knew why, Philip, that I took some of these classes during my study, because I'm not like a farmer or anything like that. But I always realized that food in hospitality is really what is the lifeblood of society. If people can't eat, you can't sleep. You can have a house and shelter and what have you, but if you're not satisfying your stomach and your cravings, you don't sleep at night. You need food. and you need fresh water. And that's
Mhm.
what we have. And that's what we have to offer here. We have food and fresh water. And then people can sleep. And then we can make shelter and do bioconstruction. And actually, one of the projects Moser is working on with us is to create a geodesic dome using the bamboo that we have. We have 50,000 square meters of bamboo forest. We
Mhm.
have three different types of bamboo, and we can grow more bamboo if we need different species. But the bamboo that we have is one of the resources, as I mentioned, that we don't utilize. I have 50,000 square meters of bamboo, and we don't make one object to sell. But I was studying bamboo, and there's over 200 novelty items like for to sell to tourists that you can make within seconds with the bamboo. And that's what Moser and we're trying to work together and come up with these products that we can start to cultivate the bamboo here and go to the beach on the mainland and basically vend them as artists, local artisanal products for tourists. And you can make, $5 or $10 per item, but we can make thousands and thousands of items in the bamboo. So we have everything. What we don't have students. We don't have people that are ready, willing, and able, is what I say. We need people ready, willing, and able. And we can make an impact together, Philip, on this project. The BioDome here in Brazil can be an example. And then we can do and then together we can come up with a formula to make a model to replicate these smaller systems in environments that don't have the natural the wonders that we have here. That's kind of the direction that I envision. If it vibrates with you and harmonizes with you, I would hope so.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm happy to hear that you're well resourced, and I think that there's a lot of potential in the future utilization and the available green space and the natural environment and preserving the natural environment. So
excellent. We're in harmony. For today, I want to thank you so much. This is 4th of July weekend, and I know that this is a Saturday evening. You've taken out time from your busy schedule, your busy day. One question that I kind of just I'm thinking about: Are you a student, like a graduate student, or are you faculty? What is your actual status?
at this point, I'm a retired researcher. I had a 30-year career doing neuroscience and biophysics. So we grew neurons and stretched them. And so anyway, had a nice repertoire of publications. But science funding has been tight in the United States going through the Trump era and before. And there was a point where the professor I was working under went to retire. And then he found me a position with the graduate student of his graduate student. So I was the workhorse and the bench scientist who, knew how to do all the things that had been the basis for our lineage of research. And the generational 2-step down professor who got a new appointment took me on for another decade. And again, we published some good research. In fact, he's still publishing my research, and I've been retired for 3 years. So I was a very productive laboratory bench scientist, and the money's still tight. So they said, Phil, you got benefits. You need to lock them in. The likelihood that we'll get you back on in a year, like a couple of times before, is very low this time. And so therefore, you need to retire. So there's where I am. I'm a retired researcher.
And your undergraduate work, your work at university was there at MSU or some other university?
Yep. No, I graduated with biochemistry and religious studies as degrees at MSU. And then, you know, eventually found work and had a whole research career.
Wow. You know, there's so much synergy now that you mentioned the neuroscience and the biofeedback system and the resonance and healing and spirituality, because the BioDome project that we're working on is a local area network, a local satellite. It uses a drone to elevate a communication station, just like the phone that we're on. It's just a big iPhone or a big BlackBerry device. And the drone goes 5,000 meters above the clouds. So just above where there's any atmospheric disturbance. And the dome sprays a network, a grid, a smart grid. But what's interesting is that related to neuroscience, we're working with a neuroscientist, a very, very, very good scientist that I think if you don't know, do you know Dr. Paulo Farrier?
Nope.
Okay, maybe what I can do is we try to help make connection. Dr. Paulo Farrier was the founder of the International Neuroscience Academy in Geneva. I think it was in Switzerland. And as a Brazilian, he did a lot of his study and research on an international level. And then he came back to Brazil, and he's a psychologist by trade, but he's a neuroscientist and an inventor. And he's invented about 40 different devices. And these devices now use the cloud technology and the wireless technology. So we can heal everything just by looking at you right now, just looking at your face and sending a vibrational signal, you can balance all your energy field. And so the BioDome project that we're working on, like I said, is not a physical dome, but really the focus of our effort is about health. And we're trying to show the world that these technologies are proven. And Dr. Farrier for 25 years has been doing clinical studies, and he hasn't gotten any credit at all with journals, like journal articles, and going through the official means of treating people. He has a wonderful practice. And your work, that now that you're retired, I would think that you have a little bit of flexibility with coming to Brazil and doing a project. We are starting a scientific research station here on the island. And we've been working for 10 years to get the approval from the federal government and all of the ministries, the Ministry of Labor, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Science and Technology, the Ministry of the Bank, the Finance Ministry. All of the ministries are part of BioDome. They're all stakeholders. In the Ministry of Medicine and Health is a big one. And we're trying to offer this technology as a part of the social healthcare network. Brazil has a really poor record for healthcare, but they do have a system where you don't have to have insurance. If you get sick, everyone gets treated. It just might not be the best treatment in the world, but using biofeedback and neuroscience feedback systems, within 20 seconds, Philip, these systems can scan your whole energy field, and they can send a resonance pulse and correct any distortion in your light. Basically, it's a biophotonic light. It's I don't know if you've heard of biontology. Do you know biontology?
No.
No, it's a field of study which focuses on biophoton light. And there's a scientist in I think Denmark or around the Switzerland area in Europe. His name is Johann Boswinkel, and he invented the Charin. It's called the Charin, CHIREN, Charin. And this device can cure almost literally everything, because every illness is it's a light disturbance on a cellular level. And that's what our BioDome project is about, so that when people can come here to the dome, they get an automatic, without a cell phone or anything like that. You don't need a device. All you need is consciousness connection. You need to know that that system is working all the time. It's always on. It never shuts off. We are all perfectly healthy. We are all perfectly healthy. Disease is a mental distortion in our programming. We think that we're going to get old and die. You know, that's the programming that we receive. But through these new technologies, and Dr. Farrier is reversing the aging process. And actually, Brazil just, I don't know if you read, Philip, but just recently, Brazil released an enzyme. Did you hear anything about the aging enzyme that they released to the public? This enzyme is supposed to take 30 years of your life and give it back to you. And they just approved the use of this enzyme to be, it's an injection. But I don't know the exact chemical makeup of it. But like I said, Brazil is about health. The largest percentage of people with plastic surgery and people that care about what they look like is Brazil in the whole world. And so everyone wants to be healthier, but no one's doing anything about it. We're eating awful. The food is atrocious, and we're being programmed that things like COVID are going to kill you. And so everyone's fearful. And so what we're trying to do is trying to balance and trying to give the information to people in an environment that we can do. Because, you know, biofeedback and neurofeedback, you don't have to be a doctor to be able to administer this health program. Like, I'm not a doctor, and, you know, but I don't need to be a doctor, because there's really, there's no effort to it. The system is already there. It's just a matter of believing that you're perfectly healthy and you can live up to 300 years. That's what this technology is promising. You can live to be 300 years old. Can you imagine that? Is that something that's pretty incredible, isn't it? It's kind of a revolutionary idea that you don't have to get old, get sick, and die.
Mm-hmm.
And so would it interest you at all on a personal level to collaborate maybe with Dr. Farrier, get to know Dr. Farrier, get to know a little bit more about the details of what we're doing? And also you can share, there's probably things that you're doing that I don't know about equally.
I'd be happy to make the acquaintance.
Excellent. So I guess for today, I don't know, did you have any questions or any suggestions on what we may do in preparation for the next phase of our relationship?
No, I cannot say that I do. I was happy to have a nice long conversation. It has, you know, it has gotten a little later, so probably about time.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Philip. And for people that are listening to this program, you know, contact Philip at the Student Greenhouse Project on YouTube. There's a channel that they have. You can make a comment, and also Philip and on the internet, right? What is the best way for
so our website, which has the ability to send an email and encourages people to get our newsletter, is SGP, which is Student Greenhouse Project. So that's sgpbiodome.com.
sgpbiodome.com.
Yep.
And I suggest anybody interested in environment, natural resource management, health and wellness, spirituality, all the subjects, integrated subjects, go to sgpbiodome.com, because we're working together now. We're friends. In Brazil and the United States, the whole idea is to build more democracy and a stronger foundation, so that we don't have to be worried about the future like what we're worried about right now. So thank you so much, Philip, and enjoy. I know 4th of July is coming up on Monday. It's only a couple of days away. Do you have a barbecue or something? Do you have any plans?
My partner will be coming in from out of town.
Good. Enjoy yourself. We'll be thinking about you. Happy Independence.
Yes. Have a great.
Jose, you can say goodbye.
Hey, Mose.
Oh, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Signing off. Thank you so much, Philip.
Yes. Thank you, David. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Tem pessoa hoje in the barcos, tem barcos or quantos? Quatro, cinco?
More.
Mais? 20? Quase 20. Turistas entrar embaixo?
Aqui embaixo?
Yeah. Pouco? Conversar com pessoas?
Yeah.
Boa pessoa?
Boa.
Tem perguntas da ilha?
No.
Historia, Maria, David.
Yeah.
Muitas perguntas.
Alguns perguntaram.
Yeah.
Alguém. Sobrinho do seu Dito.
Sobrinha do Sergito.
Dito.
Sargento.
Dito.
Dito. Oh, the sobrinha de Dito.
Yeah.
In Juqueí.
Yeah. Esteve aqui meia hora mais ou menos. Mas, gente, alguns sobre The Pier, Paul, estou aqui.
Tem movimento.
Movimento.
Yeah. Imagina David Maria sozinho aqui, todo dia. Agora não,
Sim.
agora é muito frio.
Yeah.
And pessoas não gostam de camping in the
frio.
in the cushion, in the frio, in the gelada, água de gelada.
Boa. Mas estava de boa, ficou tranquilo. Ontem também sossegado, tranquilo.
In the continente, evento hoje, boiçucanga, associados de pescadores, boiçucanga, in the marina, in the Rio de Boiçucanga. Tem 100 pessoas, 120 pessoas.
Associação dos Pescadores.
Sucesso. Muito boa. Tem investimento na cidade de San Sebastián. Infraestrutura, mais organizada. Boa. No Rio, mais acesso nos barcos. Por exemplo, no Rio de Saí, tem tudo areia. Imagina, de mar muito alto aqui, necessário puxar do barco no Rio, puxar. Água aqui, tem tudo areia. Mas não limpar.
Precisa de uma draga.
Yeah, em Boiçucanga tem sistema de draga. Yeah, e mais barcos, mais grande, maior. Aqui, barco necessário, barco aqui. Canoa. No outro barco.
Só canoa.
Só canoa.
You happy?
Happy? Felicidade?
Yeah.
Uau, caralho. Por mim, todo dia, não imagina. Todo dia diferente. Tudo gratidão. Tudo gratidão. Pouco nervoso. You know, não tem experiência em fazer documentário. Não tem fotografia, tecnologia, you know. Não tem. Nada. So, primeira vez. Muito trabalho. Muito contato. Tem 1.000 contato necessário filter. Tem 4, 5 pessoas, 1.000 contactos, 4, 5 pessoas aqui no filme, but muito pessoas necessário, communication.
Mais pessoas.
Mais, 50.000 pessoas por mim necessário. Falar. Tudo costeiro.
Yeah.
Tudo costeiro. 50.000 pessoas. David, tudo pessoa. Muito louco, museu. Hoje, uma reunião em Jureia. Jureia em frente aqui, sabe? Primeira vez, David, em Jureia. No visual. But hoje, na praia, bonito praia. But problema, na praia aqui, tem Monte de Trego, ilha Monte de Trego, em frente de Jureia, aqui, em frente aqui. Outro ilha nesta direção, Ilha das Covas, but no completo, no view as ilhas, no view Ilha dos Gatos. Problema mountain.
Sim.
Pouco montana aqui, but visual aqui, directo. Esta Ilha das Covas. David, pergunta, pessoas na praia, surfista, 30 anos, surfista aqui. David fala este cara, oi, esta ilha, que nome esta ilha?
Qual o nome daquela ilha?
Sim. Não, nada.
Não?
Nada. Nunca pessoa fala Ilha das Covas. Nunca.
30 anos.
30 anos, Caissara.
Não conhece?
Não conhece Ilha das Covas. Não fala esta as ilhas. Não as ilhas. As ilhas, outra ilha em frente.
Sim.
No visual. Ilha das Covas aqui, as ilhas aqui, but no view. Só aqui, Ilha das Covas. As ilhas aqui, gatos aqui. Toc aqui. Alcatrazes aqui. Sabe? Monte Trego aqui. Tudo pessoa fala, esta ilha, montão de Trego.
Yeah.
Tudo pessoa.
Yes.
But esta ilha, nada.
Não sei.
Não sei nada. Imagina.
Sim.
Confusion. Oh, no, este pessoa, não este nome Ilha das Covas. Ilha das Covas em Ubatuba. Não, tem dois Ilha das Covas. Oh, dois Ilha das Covas?
Yeah.
30 anos aqui, não conhece?
Caraca.
Imagina, tudo pessoa, não tem information,
Sim.
não tem inteligência, não tem conexão.
Sim.
Esta Ilha das Covas, abandonado.
Não existe.
Abandonado. No respeito, nada. 50 anos, Maneco aqui. Primeira vez, Maneco aqui, tem arma. Pessoa no barco. Tudo pessoa.
Crazy.
50 anos. Maneco, no pessoa aqui, nunca. Caissara, bora. Maneco agravado. Agressivo. Tem arma. David e Maria aqui. Oh, tudo pessoa. Convite, junto comigo.
Yeah.
Sabe? Diferente. Este.
Pensamento, né? A forma de pensar, né?
Diferente.
Como foi em Jureia?
Boa.
Boa.
Oh, yeah. Interview, quase uma hora, in the hotel. Sambaqui. Conhece Sambaqui, the nome Sambaqui?
De nome.
In the mar, in the praia, shellfish. Shellfish. Calcium. Calcium. In the praia, tudo comida.
Sim.
Conch. You know, conch. Conch. The nome da conch. The species of mar.
Peixe de mar.
There's no peixe, but
Mariscos.
Mariscos.
Frutos.
Yes.
Frutos do mar.
Frutos do mar. The nome Sambaqui. Tem muito Sambaqui. The nome Tupi-Guarani, Indio, the nome palavra. Sambaqui. Hotel em Sambaqui, quase 30 anos atrás, fazer. Em Jureia. 26 quartos. Hotel pequeno.
Sim.
Hotel pequeno, muito bonito. Muito. 5 estrelas.
5 estrelas.
5 estrelas. 5 stars. Muito boa. Uma hora conversar. Dois pessoas. Outra pessoa. EU. Sabe? Muito boa conversar. Muito boa.
Legal.
Em Jureia, praia, but tem 15 praia total em Costa Sul. 15.
Sim.
Jureia, uma. Imagina, Jureia, 15. Baleia, baleia. Saí, bonito. But tem muito suja. Saí, muito suja. Em Juqueí, bonito. Praia Preta, Praia Brava, Maresias, Paúba, Toc pequeno. Tudo praia, bonito.
Bonito aqui.
Bonito.
Boracéia.
Boracéia é mais grande.
Sim.
Mais grande. E mais pessoa. Boracéia não tem nada em Boracéia. Não tem banco, restaurantes muito mal. Não. Tem supermercado. Uma.
Roots.
Uh-huh.
Legal, Davis.
Momento.
Comunidade americana no Brasil de 70 mil.
70 mil. Só 70 mil. Tudo Brasil. Imagina, pequeno. Muito pequeno. Pouco.
Conhece muitos no Brasil? Você?
Conhece muito?
Você?
Em outro lugar? Não muito. Curitiba, Belo Horizonte, Iguaçu, Foz do Iguaçu, Maranhão, Totoya, Maranhão, Lençóis, Maranhão. No, cinco, seis outro local.
Sim, eu digo
People.
da América.
Não tem outras pessoas.
Não
Nunca,
conhece?
nunca, zero.
Certo?
Outro americano aqui, nada.
Não?
Turista, pouco turista, mas não muito. Tudo tempo aqui, maybe 30 pessoas, turista, americana. Tem mais em Europa, Argentina, Uruguai, sabe, typical. Turista aqui, não tem muito paz. Brasil, primitivo. Perigoso. Tem problemas, criminais. Muito problema.
Inibe, né?
Inibe.
Afasta o turista.
Yeah. Brasileiros voltar
Não. Afasta o turista da violência.
Afasta do turista.
Criminalidade.
Yeah.
Expulsa, né? Ninguém quer vir. Brasil? Não.
Yeah. Rio, por exemplo, Rio. Muito problema em Rio.
Mais muito turista. Eu já morei no Rio.
Yeah. In Rio.
1 year.
Ano. In Copacabana.
Não.
Ipanema.
Não.
No.
Niterói.
Niterói.
Morro do Macaco.
In favela. Muito alto, né?
Divisa. Tráfico, milícia, no meio. De um lado os tráficos, do outro lado a milícia. Milícia, conhece milícia?
Não, milícia.
Cobra pedágio, extorsão, extorquir as pessoas, sabe? Pay ou pagar.
Or humano. Sozinho.
Não. Trabalho.
Vende de plantas. Perfumes. Dinheiro. Yeah.
Perfume. Marketing direto.
Sério? Companhia internacional.
Não, nacional.
Local. Yeah. Gosta do trabalho?
Foi uma boa experiência.
Boa experiência.
Viajei em muitos lugares. Rio, Mato Grosso, Belo Horizonte, Goiás. Supervision.
The nome supervision.
Supervisor.
Supervisor. Yeah, supervision.
Executivo de marketing direto.
Wow.
My name is Hello, baby.
Tem cartão.
No more.
Tem cartão.
Cartão só. Ai.
Muita experiência, museu. Diferente.
Bastante.
Yeah.
Fotografia, vender também. fotografia, escola, formatura, colchones,
Colchones,
colchão,
cushions for the cama.
yeah.
Vende tudo. Vende tudo.
Qualquer coisa. Ah, then, yeah. you-
Yeah, vende.
Agora no more. Tem
Vende the coco. Coco muda. Vende the coco muda, cara. Por favor. Vende the bamboo.
vende.
Vende.
Eu já fiz um contato aqui. Oh, Tabu, tchau. Sair daqui que é o problema, né?
No, you saw the material aqui. Primeiro you saw aqui.
Sim.
Depois.
Alguém na rede social do Bambu. Ah, I need 50 roses de bambu em Caraguá.
50 doses in Caraguá.
Que jeito. Não dá para levar daqui para lá, né?
No, but no tem transporte.
Não.
No tem caminhão. No, complicado. Mais
Frete.
Freight. That's problema. Transporte.
Combustível muito alto, né?
Custo duas ou três vezes.
Sim.
And muito caro. Muito caro.
Tá bom, fazer aqui, né? Tá bom. 1000 dúzias. 1000 dúzias de bambu.
Muito bambu. 1000, mil doses. Tem contrato?
Yeah.
Sério? Tem quase tudo bambu. Limpar tudo.
Tudo.
Limpar tudo. Em
Fechado.
3 anos, return.
Um ano.
Ano, retorno.
Yeah.
Bambu de brota. No grande. Comida.
Sim.
Tudo comida. Bambu de brota.
Muda de bambu.
Muda de bambu.
Aquele amarelo.
Yeah.
Não sei aonde que eu vi. Em algum lugar por aqui. Acho que na escada. Tá brotando bambu. Marcos fez algum serviço em algum canto. Bambu amarelo. Oh,
Yeah. In the terra or
na terra.
in the terra?
Ah,
Embaixo tem Amarillo.
acho que embaixo. Não remember. David, qual o valor da diária do camping?
Valor da area. 60 reais por noite
60 por noite.
por pessoa.
Possibilidade 20 pessoas, trabalho ayahuasca.
Uau. Trabalho ayahuasca. 20 pessoas aqui. 60 reais por pessoa. Noite ou 2 noites?
Noite.
Yeah. Grupo. 20 pessoas. Sério?
Sim.
Yeah, but you saw the gas necessary paguei
Yeah.
30, 40 reais, depending. 20 pessoas tem muita comida.
Yeah.
Tanque, meio tanque, quase meio tanque. Tanque de gás em Boisacanga, 130 reais.
130.
R$130, imagina, tu gasta R$130.
Mais o transporte para ir buscar.
Nossa, 8 anos antes, quase R$40.
Yeah.
Agora 130. Uma data, grupo de data.
Yeah.
Esta semana ou outro mês?
Tô combinando aqui.
Amigo ou
Sobrinho.
sobrinho?
Sobrinho.
Mora em Boiçucanga, em São Paulo. Em São Paulo. Em tudo pessoa em São Paulo.
Provável.
É. Necessário estacionamento caro. Não sei, 30 reais por noite. No quase 30. Barco 60.
70.
É.
Grupo 60.
Yeah, maybe 60, 70. Possibilidade 50. Não, but 20 pessoas, TD, barco, transporte tudo pessoa.
Yeah.
Tem mais barco, mais caro, mais funciona, mais rápido. Três barcos, tudo pessoa. 7, 8 pessoas por barco. 3 barcos, rápido. Barco, espera. Não, mas espera meia hora, 40 minutos. Diferente. Em três vezes, tem 2 horas diferentes.
É.
Mais complicado.
Não cobra por nós.
Não, mas falar custo completo.
Sim.
Custo completo.
É.
Tem xamã?
Não.
No xamã. Fazer ayahuasca?
É um amigo que já serve a ayahuasca há uns 9 anos.
9 anos. Experiência. Sim.
Experiência.
Yeah.
Produzir. Meu sobrinho tem planta chacrona,
Cipó.
Bora? Plantar na ilha.
Bora.
Chacrona.
Bora.
Cipó.
Tem mudas. Tem muda.
Yeah.
Tem muda. Planta aqui, cara. Sério? Natureza, não?
É.
No problema environmental.
Não sei se ela pertence, né? A esse bioma.
Morto da mata.
Não.
Não. Esta species no problema.
Do cipó pode ser, né? Mas a chacrona não, é um arbusto, né? Arbusto. Pequena árvore, né? Vamos ver. Já passei os valores. 70 de barco, 60 de estadia. Tem data?
Tem data?
Agosto?
Em agosto?
Pode ser. Talvez, né?
É. Agosto do dia de 19, 20, 21. Fim de semana. Sexta-feira, sábado, domingo. Possibilidade de evento aqui.
Possibilidade.
Yes, possibilidade. Em ayahuasca, no problema. Junto.
É
outro grupo.
De ayahuasca.
Experiência ayahuasca. Education.
Tá,
Workshop. Explicar ayahuasca, experimento. Sabe? Typical, primeira vez. Não conhece ayahuasca. Mais complicado.
Poucas pessoas, né? No máximo 2 que nunca tomaram.
Não. Yeah. Sei uma ou 2. Não 4.
Até 4. Lá onde a gente faz, até 5. No máximo. 5 iniciantes.
5 iniciantes.
No máximo.
Máximo.
Complicado, né?
5 complicado. 2 complicado. 2 complicado.
Não, mas bem explicado, bem informado, né?
Aham.
Essa pessoa está bem informada. Yeah. No problem. Pode ser. Oba! Ayahuasca! Aí. Information.
Information.
David, aquele galo grande.
Galo Grande?
É. Ele é meio... parece que ele está meio deslocado daqui, né? No adaptation.
Nada.
No
Não. Doméstico.
doméstico.
Uma loja. A loja de animais em Campinas. Comprar. Imagina, comprar da galinha. Caralho. Problemas. Por mim, todo tempo problema. Neste galo.
É?
Tudo.
Toda hora tá aqui, né?
Yeah.
Eu vou andar, ele vem atrás de mim. Me segue. E aí, amigo? Coco?
Come coco aqui. Yeah, no boa. Problema da cocô, da galinha.
Não, ele coco lá.
Yeah, o problema da galinha na mesa. Coco, caralho.
Felipe, your friend?
Philip. Philip is a friend. No, he's in Estados Unidos.
No friend?
No, amigo.
No, amigo?
No, primeiro contacto.
Contato?
Yeah. Boa, huh? No, tem outro conversar, but no record, no record, video. Este é vida, live stream, sabe? Agora, continuar.
Continue.
Guilherme dormir, não sei. Felipe, nada pessoa aqui. Não sei. The video.
Saturday. Balada. Sábado. Vídeo amanhã.
No, in the casa.
In casa?
In the casa.
Eu admiro a sua dedicação. Sua preocupação, né, com essa população local.
Opa. Saúde. Beleza.
English.
God bless you.
What?
God bless you. God,
God.
Deus, bless you.
Bless you.
Yeah, Pencos.
Pencos. Bênçãos.
Pensos.
Ah, Deus abençoe.
Yes. Pensois.
Abençoe.
Yeah, pensoi. Difícil, esta palavra difícil, no?
Abençoe.
Yeah,
Bless.
yes.
Bless.
Blessings.
Já bless.
God bless you.
God bless you. Já.
Você.
God bless you.
Or Gesundheit. In Alemão, Gesundheit. Gesundheit.
Alemãos.
Este es un coreano. Dormí in the bamboo, in the barracas, or the barracas aquí. Barracas
De camping.
in the longe.
Ah,
Louco.
no camping, lá na frente.
Primeira vez.
É?
Primeira vez.
É, eles
No-
aqui, né?
Normal aqui.
Sim. Não sei se eles... É porque tinha gente, né? Eles chegaram cedo. 7, 7h30.
In the manhã.
É. Eu me 5h30. Salinhas.
5:30. Não dormi bem.
Dormi, mas foi dormir cedo, né?
Yeah,
Foi dormir 8, 5 horas já
yeah,
acorda, né?
yeah.
Eles
O
chegaram
problema em dormir ontem na noite em Boiçucanga, tem muito barulho. Na cidade, muito tráfego, muito cachorro na rua, tudo noite. Amanhã, na galinhas, na galos, yeah, in the galos.
How do you say galos?
Rooster,
Rooster.
rooster, chicken,
Chicken.
frango,
Frango.
frango. Fazer café? Não mais café. Cafeína. Necessário dormir.
Só na correria.
Tem baseada. Tem baseada. Maria não gosta de David fumar.
Yeah.
Para mim, no sangue, hábito, hábito. Quase 12 anos. 12 anos, muito 12. Fumar tudo tempo, minha vida. Agora eu e as coisas tem nada. Hey, baby,
Abstinência.
you want to come out and talk? Duas ou três vezes em minha vida, não mais fumar.
Não mais.
Decisão, decisão. Cara, imagina, in the colchão, in the estacionamento, in the carro, não mais fumar. Outro dia, pacote, in the colchão, pacote. Sério? Outro tempo, mais, tudo tempo, não mais fumar. Puf. Imagina. Problema agora na turistas, não, pessoas em Juqueí, em Boiçucanga, não vai aqui. Não vem. Não pega de baseado. Só baseado, 3 dias, 4 dias para mim. Just uma. Só baseado. Não necessário muito. Cloder gosta. Remember? Cloder.
Yeah.
Todo dia, Cloder. 2 ou 3 baseado. Tudo. Mozer também. In the terra.
Na casa.
Yeah, but comprar or crescendi. 2. Muito caro. The cost of the caro. 50 reais pedaço. 100 reais. Pedaço aqui. 30 gramas. 100 reais. Caro. Não?
For me, 25.
25 dias? Quase mês. 100 reais, mês, médico, muito barato. Barato.
It's fine.
Ah, boa. Bonito. Fêmea ou macho? Esta planta fêmea. Bem melhor fêmea, huh? No sementes. Tem sementes ou não? No semente na fêmea.
Esse dei para o meu sobrinho. Gosta. Pensa numa criança que gosta.
Yeah.
Acho que mais de 10 anos. Todo dia. 4, 5. Ele, né? 2 por dia. Eu e ele, né? Oh, hey, tio. Yeah. Smoke Mary Jane. Esse é o problema.
Quem gosta, você gosta.
Dificulte.
Pacote, dia. pacote dia. 20 cigarros. Imagina, 20 baseados. Diferente tobacco addiction. Addiction. Necessary mais. Dependency. Dependência.
Dois anos atrás, cirurgia.
Dois anos?
3 meses, sempre. Ou 3 meses. Yes. Bosta, né?
Bosta.
3 meses. E passar Happy Christmas. No, Happy Christmas. Yes. My father. In house of my father. 10 horas da noite. Hospital, morfina. Outra cidade, hospital. No outro dia. Aqui.
Quase morto.
Na semana.
Em semana. Nossa. Quase morto.
Quase morto.
Problema, ulcer. Gastritis.
Perfurou a úlcera.
Yeah, problema da comida.
Problema de cigarro.
Só cigarro e café.
Sempre tá aí. Tentar de novo, né? Parar, né? É igual você falou, decisão, né? Decision, não fumar. Ok.
Tem 2 pacotes.
Isso.
Não tem medicina na surgeria. Não tem necessário mais médico. Farmacêutico, droga. Não, nada. Nada. Boa.
Nada de remédio. A última vez foi essa. E agora, aquele remédio que você me deu? 2 anos. Não remédio, nada.
Uau.
Não gosta. Remédio.
Tóxico.
Medicina é só natural. Planta. Chá. Tem bambu que o Zoom plantou 5 years later.
Yeah.
Grande.
Aqui?
Yeah.
5 anos? Grande?
É fino, né, ainda. Mas quase da altura aqui.
Sério? Em frente aqui? Sério?
É uma árvore em cima, né?
Uma jaca? Árvore da jaca? Lá em cima?
Uma galha caiu ali, né?
Um
Não sei
galho?
se é uma galha de jaca, não reparei se é. Depois amanhã eu vou dar uma olhada, vou limpar o pedaço para ver como é que ele tá.
Yeah. But muito fino, bambu fino.
Ainda fino.
Yeah, but não necessariamente mais grosso. Este bambu boa.
Então, aquele 10 anos.
10.
Já tem 5, mais 5. Começar a colher. Mais 10 metros quadrados. Não sei nem se nós vamos estar aqui. Mais 10 anos, mais 15 anos. 15 anos você já vai estar com 75. Está com 60, não, 58.
58?
Viu?
58. Muito. Muito estresse. Agora intenção. Energia. Aqui. Oh, sério. Estresse do filme. Agora tem duas pessoas abandonado, David. Abandonou.
Só amanhã, David.
Não amanhã. Amanhã, este carro bora na São Paulo.
Os dois?
Dois, bora. Original plano. Este evento terminou amanhã, 2 horas da tarde. Hoje, Guilherme, fala, David, não trabalho amanhã. Necessário bora na casa de São Paulo. Well, Philip, expectivo amanhã, 10 horas amanhã. Não na noite agora. Mas necessário, por favor, Philip, hoje, não amanhã, troco.
Sim.
Sabe? Complicado.
Difícil, né?
É.
E aí você fica
Ontem na noite, 2 caras na casa, tem pizza, tem comida, sabe? Tem 10 horas e meia, bora, uma posada, Maria EU, bora.
Sim.
Este 2 caras, na noite, na festa, na casa da pessoa, na festa, 5 horas madrugado. Em 5 horas madrugado, na casa, dormir. Necessário 9 horas, 8 e meia, café manhã. Este caras, tudo dormir na casa, cara. Nossa, tudo plano, necessário renovar, tudo.
Caralho.
Tudo. So, obrigado, meu Deus, sabe?
Sim.
David, fulfill expectivo, objetivo, boa.
Sim.
Tudo.
Você fez sua parte.
Minha parte,
Perfect.
só controle, minha parte.
Sim.
Não controle outro. Nada. Muito difícil. Agora, nossa. Supervisor, supervision.
Yeah.
Supervision agora, nossa. Pessoa louco. Tudo drogas. Imagina, funcionários em responsabilidade, você, produtivo, dinheiro, budget, expense, tudo. Complicado. Compromisso. Não gosto.
Okay.
Não mais. Para mim,
No crédito, né?
nada mais.
Perde a credibilidade, né?
Nada.
E aí tu fica aí nessa ansiedade. Caralho, porra.
Preocupado.
Preocupado, né?
Todo tempo preocupado. Não dormir na noite. Para mim, normal.
Sim.
Por exemplo, amanhã, 9 horas, 10 horas amanhã, David. No, nada. Problema de galo. 4 hours na madrugada. Tudo tempo. David dormia, but muito pequeno, but todo dia. Wake up, David, wake up. No. No.
Comida!
Comida. Fucky, fucky.
Caraca, bicho. Só rindo.
Sorrindo.
Só rindo pra não chorar, né? Tem que rir, né? É, porque você fica na sua expectativa, né? Se ficar estressado, não vai resolver nada também, né?
Nada.
É da
Mais problema.
É da sua natureza, né?
Yeah. Mais stress, mais problema.
Mais problema. Né?
Agora 0, 0. 0, 0.
Agora já tá no 0-0. Aí sim.
Meditado. Dorme bem.
Acordar,
Oxigênio.
Tranquilo.
Tranquilo.
Respirar, né?
Respirar. Importante. Respeito. Número 1, respeito. No corpo, mental. Número 1. Não, outra pessoa não quero. E you, sabe? No respeito. Diferente.
Mas é complicado, né? A gente fica meio que desapontado, né? Frustration. What's no?
No.
No?
Artificial frustration. Frustration artificial.
Artificial.
Illusion. Illusion. Agora. Simples. Agora.
Só tem agora.
Não tem outro. Não tem mais.
Não tem outro tempo. É só esse agora com o Moacir. David Moacir.
Cachorro. Dormi in coreano.
Será?
Yeah.
É.
Peta bora.
Passou o dia inteiro pra lá.
Quase 2 dias. Coreano, 2 noites ou 1 noite?
1 noite.
1 noite. Esta noite, sábado.
Yeah.
1 noite. Tem comida. Em Peta?
Se manda.
Uma segunda-feira. Returno in the casa. Necessary comida.
Dei comida para ela hoje também.
Yeah.
Coco. Banana. Ela gosta de banana também, né? Come banana, né?
Comida da irmã. Tudo comida aqui. Cachorro. Pão. Gosta de pão.
Pão também, né?
Pão, manteiguilla. Gosta muito.
Queijo, presunto.
Queijo, presunto, tudo.
Tudo.
Espaguete.
Hoje eu peguei o presunto, coloquei na ração dela. Sobrou nada.
Sobre nada?
Comeu tudo. Ontem muito vento aqui.
Ontem, na noite, vento.
Vento.
Yeah.
Barraca.
Yeah. Força. Não, esta noite é muito calmo. Ontem, mas...
Lá também estava ventando?
Não lembro. Não lembro. No diferente. Normal. Pouco frio. Na pousada. Esta pousada na quarta muito pequeno. Sol da cama. parada
Uhum.
aqui, não paz, quase nada. Aqui,
Entrar pelo
aqui,
meio da
parada, aqui, cara, só calma,
Só para dormir mesmo.
só calma. In the banheiro, no banho, no porto, the banho,
Sim.
este porto aqui.
Porta.
Não,
E abrir.
abrir aqui, but no move.
Cadê o banheiro? Só o vaso.
Só vaso,
Vaso e pia.
muito pequeno, muito. It's in Nova York, este uma
Kitnet.
quase muito pequeno. Não, em Nova York, muito pequeno.
É?
Yeah,
Menor que aqui?
menor, muito. But valor da imóvel em apartamento, milhões de dólares in Manhattan. So tudo metro,
Sim.
quadrado,
Caro.
muito caro. Aqui tem tudo espaço, tá? Perfeito.
Muito espaço, né?
Yeah. Bem boa. For me, in the claustrofobia. Claustrofobia.
Não, né?
Não, but ontem na noite, problema dormir.
É.
Mas, primeira vez em quase 3 anos, dormi não na cama aqui. Quase três.
Quase 3 anos.
Yeah. Primeira noite. For me, complicado. Gosta aqui.
Costuma, né?
Costuma dormir. Ilha das Covas, por mim, dormir. Todo tempo. Gosta de dormir. Gosta muito calma.
Gosta de dormir.
Gosta de dormir. Sério. É. Agora filme. Projeto de filme. Eu sei. Depending Guilherme e Felipe. Guilherme e Felipe trabalho. Tem filme. Guilherme e Felipe não tem trabalho?
Mas não hoje, né?
Não hoje.
Hoje? Combinou hoje?
Não.
Não. Vai editar.
Uma semana, 2 semanas. Mas em agosto, outro evento, agosto.
De agosto.
Possibilidade. 19, 20, 21. Fim de semana.
Com eles.
Com eles e outras pessoas. Grupo. Quase 20 pessoas. Possibilidade ayahuasca. Maybe junto sobrinho. Não?
Acho que junto não.
Não.
Trabalho no silêncio. Só música. Não fala.
Comida.
Oi, sopa.
Mandioca.
Caldo verde. No máximo. Não comida, arroz.
Não.
Só uma sopinha depois.
Dormir.
Continuar o trabalho, né?
É.
Enquanto dorme,
Chover.
assimila, né?
Assimilio.
Enquanto dorme, dá continuidade no trabalho. Enquanto dorme.
É.
Depois, né?
Não, na ayahuasca, 1 semana, 2 semanas depois, limpar.
Sim.
Não eliminou rápido. Não. Por mim, the the benefício do ayahuasca agora.
Sim.
The ayahuasca is 6 meses.
Faz.
atrás.
Ainda está no benefício.
Benefício muito tempo. Muito tempo.
Continua, né, o benefício. Está limpo, né? Ainda mais você que está aqui, mais limpo, preparado. Né? Senão você toma. Faz o trabalho. No dia seguinte, trabalho, loucura. Bebê, trânsito, poluição.
Putz,
Acabou, né?
acabou.
Acabou. Se não tivesse, se tiver um tempo para ficar, porque uma semana, 2 semanas. Boa.
Boa.
Mais um mês, mais uma dose.
Mas... Ah. Agora, muito câncer. Beleza?
Beleza, bom descanso.
Bom descanso.
Até amanhã.
Namastê.
Namastê.
Beleza.
Valeu, Dave.
Falou, Moisés. Pega esta em frente.
Esse?
E na água na frente, ok? Na casa.
Sim.
Amanhã. You sleeping, baby? You sleeping, honey?
Is there snow already?
No.
Okay, baby?
Yeah.